Okay. Okay, hi, everybody who is tuned in and watching us on our Facebook Live. Today we are talking with Sense Charity. My name is Sam and I'm the founder of Parent Supportal, which is a one-stop shop for children and children's parents of special needs. That even makes sense. Parents of children with special needs, even. And we are passionate about collating all the information and all the resources for parents to be able to navigate the world of disability as easy as possible. And that includes pulling together all different information and resources from charities and organisations such as Sense. So tonight we are very lucky to be welcoming Sian and Rebecca from Sense Charity, and they are going to tell us a little bit about Sense and how it started and then how they got involved with the charity. Okay.
Who should start? Do you want me to start, Sian? Yeah. So hi everybody, I'm Rebecca Lydiard. I'm the head of Sense Specialist Services for Children and Young People. I've been working with Sense for 5.5 years now. My background is I'm a teacher, and then I trained as a teacher of the visually impaired, and then later a teacher of the multisensory impaired. And I lead the specialist children's team, which is one of the services that Sense offers to people across the age range, really. So, Sian, do you want to introduce yourself quickly, and then I'll talk about the background of Sense?
Hi everyone, my name's Sian Stamper. I'm an operations manager at Sense. I've been at Sense for 5 years as well. So, and I work in the holidays and short breaks team. So I work across a range of short break opportunities that we provide for both children and young people and adults with disabilities.
So first of all, I think we were going to talk about where Sense started, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
So Sense has been around since 1955.
Oh wow!
And it actually started with two mothers who were called Peggy Freeman and Margaret Rock, and they contracted rubella when they were pregnant. And their children were born deaf-blind as a result of them having rubella in pregnancy. And they connected as parents of children who were deaf-blind, and they both felt quite isolated. They felt that they were unable to get the support that they needed and that their children needed. They felt they needed more support to support their children to develop, to learn communication skills, and to learn all skills that children develop over their childhood years. So they then reached out to other families in the similar situation, and that is really how Sense was born, if you like. So it was very much a family-based charity working with children who were deaf-blind. And then obviously over the last however many years, I can't do that in my head quickly, but since 1955 we've developed quite a lot. We're a much bigger charity now than we were then, obviously, and we're not just working with children who are deaf-blind, but we're working with people across the age range. So we have services from naught all the way through adult life.
And everybody in that age range are deaf-blind?
No. So originally the charity was set up to support people who are deaf-blind. We still work with people who are deaf-blind, but as the time's gone on, it's really developed that the skills and knowledge and expertise of the staff working within Sense, we've kind of come to realise that our services and our skills can be used to support a whole range of people who have complex disabilities.
Okay.
So we have kind of broadened our support offer, if you like, and our areas of expertise. So yeah, we do work with a broader group of people now. but still very much our foundations, if you like, are within particularly around communication and development of communication skills and using alternative methods of communication. So we have a really wide range of services, to the point that I've got a note to make sure that I don't forget anybody, because there is quite a lot of services now. So Sian and I mentioned, so I work with the specialist children's team, and we do work largely with children who are deafblind, but also with children who have a single sensory impairment, so have either a vision or a hearing impairment, but with an additional need. And we work with children and young people from 0 to 25 years and offer a whole range of support, which I'll go on to later.
Mm-hmm.
Then obviously we have the holidays and short breaks team, which Sian's going to talk to you more about.
Great.
We have an information and advice team, which we'll mention at the end when we talk about, you know, how to get in touch with us. But we do have that line there that if people want to get in touch to ask for any advice or signposting, that service is there for anybody. We have a number of centres across the country that offer day services for young people and adults. We also have what we call touch bases. So they're very similar to a day service and a centre, but they're a large community resource as well. So we have one in Birmingham and we have one in Barnet. And they hold our day services in those areas, but they also are like a community hub. So they'll offer events for the whole community. There's a cafe in Birmingham. Resources can be hired out. The Birmingham Touch Base holds the library as well. So they're a real kind of community resource as well, which is it's just part of the community and a really important place in Selly Oak in Birmingham and in Barnet in London.
And do you work with other charities to kind of, you're talking about like sharing out like equipment or like having a little bit of a learning library? Do other organisations come to you for your help and expertise?
We do work in partnership with a lot of different organisations, across the organisation in different ways. Our team have we've developed over this last year, actually, because of coronavirus particularly, like a toy library. And we have a whole range of resources and iPads as well that we can loan out to families, just so that people can try different resources, try before you buy, and just to get variety as well, of different toys without having to buy everything first. But the library in Birmingham is actually like the part of the Birmingham Library, so they have you can loan actual mainstream standard books, and as well as them doing storytelling and signed stories and things at that base as well.
Nice.
We also have a college, so we've got Sense College that's based in the East and in the West Midlands, and they offer learning for young people aged 16 to 25. We have housing, so we have residential services for adults and we have supported living services. We also have individualised services for adults to support in the community, so communicator guides or intervener services, so working with people to be as independent as possible in their community. We have an arts, sports and wellbeing team as well, who offer all sorts of activity, all accessible and adapted, differentiated activities in arts and sports. And then I think the last one that I've got on the list is we have a public policy and campaigns team. So that's a really important part of what we do, is raising awareness and raising campaigns in specific areas, or to support parents, young people and adults with, ensuring that their rights are met, that awareness is raised, and working well just for improved services, better access, etc.
Is there anything current at the moment that you're kind of trying to create policy on or make changes? Is it a national? Is it individual cases?
We've done all sorts of national campaigns. So a few years ago, we did something, the Play campaign, which people may have heard of. So we were working with the government around making sure that there were play opportunities available that were accessible for children with additional needs and children who are deafblind. We've done a campaign recently about making sure that there's provision for young people and adults when their parents have passed away. So making sure that there's that planning ahead of time. And then obviously a lot of the work at the moment is around the coronavirus and making sure that the people that we support aren't left out of life or left in lockdown. Is the latest campaign, left out of life. So yeah, just making sure that the specific needs of the people that we support are always kind of on the agenda. And you'll see sometimes, you know, that we're involved in press campaigns and talking about, you know, at the minute, particularly around the use of face coverings and making sure that people are aware of the exemptions if people need to lip read, talking about vaccinations, about clinically extremely vulnerable young people and their access to schooling and support while in lockdown and everything. So a whole range of really relevant things. Some that sort of develop over time and we plan for, and then obviously nobody planned for a coronavirus. So the whole sort of campaigning is to the minute as well. Sense.
No, sounds awesome.
So yeah, so a huge range of things on offer from birth all the way through life, and obviously we're just talking about two parts of the organisation tonight, but there is obviously information on our website if people wanted to find out more about those other offers.
No, it's amazing to see how it started with 2 mums and then look how it's, you know, constantly pivoted and adapted to the needs of the nation, which is incredible, really, because that, you know, kids, children, adults are complex, and the system to navigate is extremely complex. So it's nice that there are pieces of the puzzle, you know, how you guys are experts in the deafblind, and then obviously more broadly with complex disabilities. But it's important to highlight all different works that are going on, which is great.
Those kind of family roots have you know stayed. That's still very much part. Everything that we do is about the family, and you know it was set up by parents for parents and young people. And yes, we've grown, and we're, you know, a whole range of professionals work for Sense, but it's very much about supporting the family and the young people and adults as the priority.
Amazing, super. So, Sian, do you want to tell us a little bit about the holidays and short break services that Sense charity offer, and obviously in an ideal world what that looks like, but also then kind of what that now looks like for during this coronavirus time, because obviously parents are desperate for respite more than ever, and you know what is available, what's not available, or what is maybe on the horizon, and that would be great to hear a little bit about.
Brilliant. So thank you for that introduction. I think I'll start off by giving a bit of an overview about some of the national services that we offer in the holidays and short breaks team. So talking about the 2 ladies who helped establish the charity, I should probably start off with Sense Holidays, because I think that Sense Holidays is nearly 50 years old, so it's actually probably one of the oldest programs that Sense runs, and it started with a group of families who wanted to provide a holiday experience for their deafblind children, and 50 years on, it's just grown and grown and grown. So Sense Holidays provides week-long breaks for people of any age across the country who are deaf-blind. So this is still one of the parts of Sense that solely support people with multisensory impairments. And having a Sense holiday is all about having a holiday like anybody else would. So it's about going to a new place, meeting new people, trying new things, and just having a fun time. So we support people with a range of really complex needs to go away on a holiday that's centered all around what their interests are and what their preferences are and what their communication style is. So we put groups of people together who are a similar age, have a similar communication style, and want to do the same things on their holiday. And then they go away for a week to places like activity centres or cottages or music festivals we've been to.
Wow.
Every year we try and do city breaks. So we go stay in Manchester or Liverpool and we stay in student accommodation and we go out and explore city life. So there's really something for everybody, and it's about, like I said, it's about having that holiday experience, having a fun time with your friends. And we do that every year, every summer. So unfortunately last year it did get cancelled, so we didn't actually run our Sense holidays in 2020, but we're hoping to be able to run them in 2021 this summer. Unfortunately, applications are closed for this year, but people can still get in touch to be added to the mailing list for the future. Because 50 years down, but 50 more to go. There's always next year.
So how many people do you normally facilitate holidays for a year?
So normally about 100 people go away on 20 holidays.
Okay.
All throughout the summer, yeah.
Wow.
And so we put together a holiday brochure, so people kind of get to have a look through it and decide which kind of holiday they'd like to go on. So they tell us what their preferences are, and we design that break around the group that are going on that holiday. So I remember one time we had a lady who her biggest wish, she wanted to go on a horse and carriage ride on the beach and step into the sea for the very first time. So, and we have the privilege of being able to make those things happen for people.
Oh, wow.
And what we want to do is we want people to try things that they've never tried before, and we want to take informed risks as well and make sure just because somebody has complex needs doesn't mean that they can't do this or they can't do that. They can't go rock climbing, or they can't go down that dry ski slope. Like, we want to make those things happen for people, and that is what we do.
Amazing.
Holidays. I have a couple of new projects to talk about that have actually they're probably less than 6 months old because they arose out of the pandemic, and that we saw in the families and individuals we were supporting. And so one of the projects is called Virtual Buddying, and in this project we link up an individual with a disability. So that's anyone across the country with any disability of any age. So I think the youngest person is 5 years old and the oldest person is 94.
Oh,
so
wow.
We've got a spectrum. And we link them up with a volunteer who has the same interests and the same communication style. And they get together once a week over the phone or over Zoom, and they have a session together based around what their interests are. So one example might be we have a volunteer buddy pair who have a book club, and every week they agree what book they're going to read, and they get together and have a mini book club every week and talk about what they've read. We have a teenage boy and his volunteer who both play the guitar and both play the piano, so they get together, they like learn a song together every single week. We have other people who maybe have more complex needs, and they get together with their buddy and they might do some sensory play together or sing some nursery rhymes using Makaton, or make some slime and have a slime session. So we support people with a whole range of needs, and we also we provide the resources. So if there's something that somebody wants to try, we can send something out in the post. And we also run lots of group sessions. So at the end of every month, we have a few group sessions where everybody comes together. And we've had discos, we've had arts and crafts sessions, pottery, a whole range of things just to suit everybody's needs. And it's really led by the people who are on the project. They tell us what they want to do, and then we organize something. So that's completely free. It's totally accessible to everyone around the country of any age with a disability. And
is that easy to run? Is that easy enough to run through like Zoom, or is that?
Yeah, so we normally do it. Most of the people on the project do use Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah, and Zoom has a capability for supporting those who are deafblind, so they can still access. Or
people aren't necessarily deafblind on this project, but can be anybody with any disability.
Okay.
So the people accessing the project are being supported by the volunteer who's working with them remotely. Some people on the project do need a bit of input from mum or dad or to kind of help them to participate. You know, if they're making a pizza together, mum might be there to help cut up the toppings and turn the oven on and make sure those bits of the session are supported. Like I said before, what we do as well is we spend a lot of time thinking about how we match two people together. So we don't just put a volunteer and a person together. We think about the volunteer's experience, the volunteer's communication skills, what their interests are. And we spend a lot of time putting together that match, because this project came about to try and reduce the isolation that people were feeling during lockdown when they weren't able to access all of their usual services. And what we want is for people to develop a meaningful relationship. We want people to develop a new friendship. And so that's why we spend that time and energy and care putting together two people who we think will actually get on really well and have fun together. And that's what it's all about. So that project is, we just recently received some new funding for that. So that project is continuing past lockdown. So that's fantastic news. So
more people can join if they want to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, open for referrals. Yeah.
Great.
And
that self-referral, can you just apply?
Yeah, people can just self-refer. Yeah. It's a pretty simple process, I like to think. So definitely most people on the project have self-referred and have heard about it and thought, oh, that's a fantastic opportunity for me or for my daughter or for my son. All of the other ways they used to spend time with people have been so drastically reduced. The opportunity to meet someone new and develop a new friendship it's not your usual way, but maybe it's the new normal. The last project, the last national project, is also relatively new, and it's our Siblings and Young Carers project. We've developed a project for people who have a brother or a sister or a parent with a disability. And this is for young people all around the country, all around the UK, aged 5 to 18. And we recognise that siblings and young carers are in a unique situation, and we want to give them the opportunity to meet people who are in a similar situation to them, and also give them that safe space to be able to talk about their feelings and their current situation, and to, like I said, to meet other people, conversations with them, to share their experiences, I guess. And so we've established a Siblings and Young Carers project. So right now it's being delivered virtually. So we run about maybe about 6 sessions a week, and we run a whole range of sessions. So we run, we have arts and crafts, we have sports, we have dancing sessions, boxing, we have a book club, we have guitar lessons. So we've sent guitars out to people and they're getting lessons from a guitar teacher.
Wow.
Run alongside that side of the service. We also run wellbeing sessions, so we've partnered up with other organisations like SIBS UK and Children's Society, and they've been supporting us to run sessions on mental health and what it's like to be a sibling, and managing anxiety. So all of those mental health and wellbeing needs that are just that I understand, especially in lockdown, that need is growing ever more, and especially for siblings and young carers. So we're providing support around wellbeing. And the intention is that as we come out of lockdown, we're going to start to develop regional face-to-face siblings groups. So once a month get together.
Nice.
We'll also be holding residentials as well for siblings and young carers. And just to touch on, those are the national projects that anybody across the country can access. We do have more regional short break offers for children and young people with disabilities. I'm thinking mainly around London and around the Midlands. Rather than go into detail about all of those, because they're quite often contracts with local authorities, it's probably best to get in touch with Sense to find out about what local opportunities are available near you, and I'll touch on how to get in touch and find out more, or refer yourself to different services later on. But that's about it from Short Breaks. I'll hand over to Rebecca to give us a bit more information about the children and young people specialist services.
Thanks, Ron. So we have our children and young people specialist services. So we work with young people aged 0 to 25. We also work primarily with children and young people who are deaf-blind or have a single sensory impairment and additional need. So we're, like Sian was saying about the holidays, we work with that sort of smaller group of people. And that's partly because, well, obviously that's the foundations of Sense of who we work for. Deaf blindness and multisensory impairment is quite a low incidence disability, and it's a very unique disability that the young people and families need very specific and specialised support. So our team is made up of specialist MSI teachers and MSI practitioners who have all got additional qualifications in supporting children who have that multisensory impairment, so that the joint vision and hearing impairment, and lots of experience and expertise in supporting children and families. So normally pretty much everything that we would do would be face to face, but obviously because of the pandemic, everything that we're doing at the minute is virtually. But I'll just tell you what we normally do and how things have changed slightly. So as I said, we work with people from 0 to 25. So obviously we're with children and young people as they develop and as they hit different stages of their life. So it may be that we're involved with somebody from being a baby, and then we stay in contact. We'll always maintain contact with families, and then we kind of get involved as and when families want us to, and to provide support at sort of key points in their child's life. But the sort of things that we do offer, so we have preschool groups that run across the country in our kind of main bases in Birmingham, Market Deeping in the east near Peterborough, in Barnet in London, in Wales, in Bristol. Did I say Birmingham? And then we have one as well in the north, that depends where we're needed, that we kind of move around a little bit. So these groups are run by our team. They're like, any play and stay group, or parent and child group that people would be familiar with. So the sessions run for a few hours. They're an opportunity for parents to come together and just make connections with other parents, share experiences, share ideas, and sort of make those friendships and those relationships with parents in a similar situation. But also they're very focused on the child's development and their learning as well. So all of the activities that we run during the session will be carefully planned to make sure that they're accessible for children who are deafblind or have a vision or a hearing impairment, that they're working on the child's communication and interaction, that they're developing their children's play skills, their social skills, and also access to their residual vision and hearing. So working in partnership, obviously, with the parents and the children to sort of set up really fun, exciting, motivating activities that support all of those areas of development, really.
That's right. And are they weekly sessions or?
Sorry, say that again.
Are they weekly, monthly?
Yeah, they're weekly. They're
Okay.
weekly, yeah. And they're still running at the minute, but on Zoom. And we actually have started some new ones that are more national groups, because obviously before the pandemic, everything was in a centre and based, locally to where people lived. But now it doesn't matter where you live; you can join us. So we've added some more groups because we've needed to add some more for people who, prior to the pandemic, wouldn't have been able to travel to a centre because it would be too far. But obviously now that everything's on Zoom, it's really accessible, so people are able to join us that way.
And you send toys to help them engage if they need the support?
Yeah, absolutely. So just linking with the question that you asked Sian about how do people who are deafblind access the sessions through Zoom. So a lot of the children that we work with will have some residual vision and hearing, so are able to engage with the activities. But again, as Sian said, the children do need some support from their parents. So it's often a partnership between us and the parent supporting their child at home and making sure that things are accessible. Obviously, we work really hard to make sure that visually things are on screen are well presented, to make contrast as good as possible, lighting and background, etc. We provide interpreters for sign support if that's required for young people. And yeah, we send out resource packs of things to join in the session. So a lot of the activities that we're doing are group sessions, and with the aim, similarly to the buddies, that there's that joint experience with somebody else, bringing you together, reducing that isolation and that feeling of being on your own. And it's so important. We're all feeling it at the minute, aren't we, that you need that connection with other people, and doing an activity together brings that kind of common ground and that feeling of community.
Yeah.
So we send out packs for all of our groups, all the preschool groups. We have other groups running as well, so for school-aged children during the day who are currently out of school. Some of the children that we work with have been out of school the whole time since March, if they're extremely vulnerable. So we're doing lots of sessions through the week, all sorts of different things. We've got a bake-off session going on at the minute. We've got yoga and drumming and painting sessions, clay, all sorts. And we're working really closely with our art, sports and wellbeing team, and they're supporting us to run those sessions, working with amazing facilitators who join us for those sessions, and are the creative experts and can lead a clubber-size session or a drumming session or a yoga session, and we provide that support to make sure it's accessible for the children that we're working with, and that sort of connection between the families.
That's nice. Do you record these sessions, or are they solely live?
Yeah, they're just live, actually. Yeah, they're not recorded, the sessions that we do for the families, but the art, sports and wellbeing team do have some pre-recorded sessions that are available on our YouTube channel.
Okay, nice. I'm making loads of notes if you hear me scribbling away.
So I can't think of all of them that are there, but I know there's some yoga, there's some sound bath sessions on there.
Oh, nice.
So they've got some pre-recorded sessions there that are all accessible, and they're always creating more content as well, and are looking to do more and more in the future as well.
Oh, brilliant.
And they're just free to download or access whenever.
Amazing. We've had a question through about you talked about the resource packs. What products, toys, games, etc. would you recommend? Is there a top 2, top 3 for children with multisensory impairments? What kind of are your go-to products that you say you must have a fibre optic lamp or whatever that might be?
I'm going to be really difficult and say it's quite a difficult one to answer without knowing the child, because I think everybody's has their own interests and their own motivations, but it's also about the access that child has to maybe their vision or their hearing or their mobility as well, and if there's any thing specific you need to think about. But I don't know if people have heard of resonance boards before. They're an amazing resource for children. So they're a simple plywood board that's slightly raised off the floor, and you can lie, a small child could lie on the board, or you can just put your feet on it or your hands on it, and any movement or music or noise on the board vibrates and resonates. So if your body's in contact with that board, you will feel the rhythm and the vibration of the music.
Nice.
But also if you're in contact with it, if your head's in contact with it, the sound will resonate. So it will be louder. You'll get the bone conduction hearing through the board.
Nice.
And you can get things called Wowie speakers, or there's other ones available that vibrate to the sound with the music.
Okay.
So you can feel the music, and you can put one of those on the board, and then you can feel sound as well as hearing the sound.
Oh, lovely.
So a resonance board can be really, really powerful, especially with young children when they're learning about their body and their position in space and cause and effect, because you can be quite cunning and position jingle bells on little ones' wrists or ankles, and as they move, they will feel that movement through the board as well as the sound. It's a real it's a multi-sensory experience. So yeah, and then just messy play and stuff out your cupboard, rice and wooden spoons and anything just to explore through touch. And a lot of I'm talking mainly about young children here, but the development of touch is really important. Unfortunately, a lot of the young people that we work with may have had long periods of stay in hospital, and their experience of touch can be quite negative sometimes, because they've had lots of procedures maybe done that they've not had control over. So a lot of our very early work with little ones is developing that trust and that positive relationship with touch, and that motivation and the confidence to reach out and explore and try things. So we use hand under hand support, where we guide the child under their hand rather than over. So we would come underneath and we share that experience together, so that they learn that it's safe, that you're in a trusting environment, they're in control, they can withdraw from that when they want to. And again, it's that shared experience and that connection with somebody else that's so important. And then once that development of touch comes, so much more learning can come from that. It's really important. So anything like messy play and just out of your cupboard. A lot of what we were doing early on in lockdown was, raid your cupboards, get this out, get that out, because, people weren't able to go to the shops and buy specialist resources. So making do what people had at home.
Amazing.
So yes, so that's a lot of the work we do as well, is kind of that kind of problem solving of what would be really motivating for children, developing those play and those early skills. And then also we work with children and parents around their education healthcare plans and any social care support, so advocating for children's specific needs. We work with the families and complete assessments so that we can write really detailed reports that support that process of getting the support that the children need. Lots of raising awareness around the needs of young people who are deafblind, both kind of generally, but also with specific people who are involved in that child's life. So sort of making sure that everybody's aware of that child's individual needs and their strengths and how they can be supported to really thrive.
And how can people access the different support offerings that you have across all of the different services that you offer? What is the best way for parents and families to get in touch? Or
I think probably the blanket answer is to get in touch with our information and advice team, who will be able to point you in the right direction and put you in touch with the right people, whether that's you're interested in accessing a specific project, or you want to know more about what's available to you locally. So I'm not sure whether we could put it like, type it in the little message bar. I can send it to you and you can share it with people. Is that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, we will do it. We will share this recording anyway, and I'm sure we will share some of the other like links and resources, the YouTube channel. This is the sort of thing that Parent Support is for. Speaking to people like yourselves, learning what you offer, so that then we can do our little bit to push and shout your services. You've got this great YouTube channel, you can contact this, there's these breaks, there's holidays. That's what we want to make sure, that families have got a whole range of options rather than feel like they have none, or very, very limited, or it's actually really challenging for them to access those services because they have impairments themselves quite often. As you probably well know, that some of maybe the parents you work with, as the parents I work with, have some of their own learning needs. So that makes their ability to access things even more challenging, which is a shame. But this is kind of what we kind of want to achieve. Additionally to, like I said, Sean, if you share with me that link that we can pass on, is there a process? A question came in. Is there a process or a criteria for people who want to be volunteers? Because obviously it sounds like you've launched lots of new buddy services and all these new kind of different things, and you're a growing charity, which is amazing. Your remit is very wide. What is the process for becoming a volunteer?
So it tends we have lots of different volunteering opportunities. So you can volunteer. You volunteer in services, like hands-on with the people we support. We have probably about 100 shops all around the country, so there's lots of opportunities to volunteer in a sense. Charity shop, closed at the minute, but just a matter of time. And opportunities to volunteer with fundraising as well. The processes are probably different for each volunteer role. I can speak from the point of view of operating services where volunteers provide support to individuals. So we have a really thorough recruitment process and screening process. So we recruit volunteers, we interview volunteers, we give volunteers training specific to the role that they will be doing. We give ongoing support and guidance and mentoring and training, and our volunteers also are thoroughly screened in terms of DBS checks and references.
Amazing. So you kind of touched on, you said fundraising, something volunteers can get involved with. Kind of probably just to finish off, what ways can, obviously you're a charity, and these services are only available because people are, generous and value what you do. How can people best support Sense so that you can continue to provide?
So like you said, I think one of the ways is to receive a service from us. We want to support as many people as possible and provide an amazing service for all of the individuals we support. That also helps us demonstrate need as well, that specialist need is there, or this need for this specific service is there. It's really, really useful when people spread the word about Sense. So from one example on virtual buddying, so many people have come to this project because one mum's been speaking to another mum, or one person has told their social worker about this service and they've referred other people that they work with.
Mm-hmm.
Because when people are spreading the word, it's because people trust us and think that we're providing them a really high quality service, so people are more likely to listen to people that they know rather than an email that I've sent. So it doesn't have as much influence as that positive feedback from someone that they know. Like you've said, fundraising, we run so many opportunities for people to get involved in Sense and fundraising. So we have our big challenge events. They've been a bit on the down low this past year, obviously, but hopefully this year and future years, I think we have loads of places in the marathon. We run lots of other challenge events similar to that. And we also have a community events fundraising team. So they work with people to help them think of ideas as to how to fundraise for Sense, or if they've got an idea, they help them put that into action and really maximise the support they get. And just to touch on what I've already said, another way to support Sense is to volunteer. So you can volunteer in shops, in many of the services that we run, so on day events with individuals, on Sense holidays, and also at fundraising events. So if you want to go and cheer someone on at the marathon, it's a brilliant day. I highly recommend it. So fundraising has lots of volunteer opportunities as well to show your support to Sense.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I have learnt lots. I've made lots of notes, and I'm very excited to share more of what you do with the families that I work with at Blue Skies. It's my kind of other hat I wear. I've definitely got several families now that I know what you do, that I can definitely refer. I'm quite excited to refer to your services, as well as obviously what we do as parent support, or sharing this and any other things. So please send us anything else, tag us in anything you think that we might benefit from, or you would like us to pass on. That's what we are here for. So thank you very much for joining us this evening, and hopefully our paths will cross again soon.
Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Good night. Bye.